So there was a comment on one of the previous videos, and someone was asking about 310. Are the servers better? Well, we have cool new effects like this, something that honestly we haven't had in a long time. And this is something that actually made me, kind of play the game in a different way. But that's something more towards a future video. We have new little things and some big things too. As another commenter pointed out, I was able to pull the Reclaimer out of Grim Hex, which I think having access to the Reclaimer and being able to launch it directly into space rather than taking off from a planet is going to be something that's going to have a transformative impact on some of the videos I make in the future. Because the truth is, a lot of the big ships that I would like to fly, I don't, just because of the hassle that goes along with them, especially the Reclaimer. That's kind of one of the ones that I regret not flying the most. But are the servers themselves better? The cool things that we're getting are nice, but are the servers better? Now, in previous, kind of PTU tests, I have encountered gameplay where it was as smooth as glass, and you were kind of looking at all the new features, and you were like, "Oh my God, look at this! This is about to get so much better, guys! It's about to get 100% better." It's so stable and the frame rates are so high and everything's going so well. And, I would make videos and I go, oh my God, I think we're about to get a really good patch. I think CIG has really nailed down a lot of the bugs and a lot of the problems that were causing servers to crash. But, ultimately, once it got out into the hands of the wider audience and once the servers were kind of all crowded up, and I'm not just talking about each individual server, but perhaps whatever amount of hardware each quote-unquote server or shard is resident on bogs down, it can maybe affect other ones. I don't know, but as soon as it got out into the wider world, it all kind of fell apart, right? But there was that moment in the PTU where it all seemed to be working so well. In 310 it doesn't seem that way. In 310, I've been getting 30K'd. I've had multiple disconnections, freezes, crashes. It feels like, and I really wanted to make just like more positive videos. I really did. I really, really did. But I kind of feel, and I'm not blaming anybody, but I kind of feel like we've just hit some kind of performance ceiling, like this is just about as far as it goes. And even some of the smallest things just seem to bring everything down like a house of cards. In a weird way, we want more content. We want more landing sites. We want more ships. We want more, planets and places to visit and more things to explore and new things to do. And we want improvements to the things that we already have. We all do, right? But I kind of feel like we have kind of hit a ceiling, that there's something that needs to happen on the back end, because the more and more we just keep cramming things into Star Citizen, the less reliable and the less stable it seems, and I'm saying that from a player perspective. Obviously, I'm not a programmer at CIG, and they might have a different take on things, and they may have a better idea of what's actually causing, the disconnections and the server crashes and whatnot. I would love to hear about that. I know it wouldn't be like the most positive interview or, the thing that people would be like, yay, server crashes, but I would love to know what the driving factor is behind that. I would love to know if is it one thing or is it a combination of many things. But that's kind of how it feels to me. It kind of feels like, when 3.0 first came out, it was horrible. It was horrible for disconnections, and we used to get excited and used to celebrate if we could play for 15 minutes straight. That was like, oh my God, guys, I played for 15 minutes straight. I'm a god. And then in 3.2 and 3.3, we seemed to get to this weird place where, yeah, there were things that were broken, and yeah, there were inconveniences, and a lot of the bugs that honestly we still have now. But you could play the game sometimes for 5-6 hours and it would not break down. It would not come apart at the seams. Whereas now, from a performance standpoint, from a player's perception of the performance, it almost seems like we're going backwards now. It feels like things are getting less and less stable. Now, in the past, we knew that there were certain things that were bringing the game down. Like when the first time they brought out interdiction, some people may not remember this, but this is when the pirate caterpillars first made their appearance. And if you blew them up, they spilled a whole bunch of cargo out into space. And when it first happened, we were all really excited. It's like, oh my God, piracy is real. We can actually do this now. And I made videos where I would get into my cutlass and I would try to scoop up all the loot that they would drop, and just so I could try to get people a number. It's like, man, if you blow one of these things up, it's worth X amount of credits or something like this. And back in those days, missions didn't pay out anything. They were horrible. I think some of the best paying out missions were like 1,500 or 1,800 credits, Imagine that compared to today. It was, but it was that thing. When it would spill out all that cargo, it would just kill the server. And CIG straight out said, yeah, no, this is killing the server. And so that got removed from the game. Fairly quickly, that was taken out of the game because it was literally like the servers would just up and die as soon as something like that happened. But, it's kind of one of these weird things. It's like kind of when you head down a branch and so many things come to you at once, so many features come to you at once, it's very difficult to tell what is actually driving it. Is it just flat out server performance? The servers just can't handle it. Or is it a combination of some bad code going along with maybe servers not running as they should or being as powerful as they should be? I don't know. Those two things coming together can really kind of drive the game down. But, there have been times in the past, like when we were doing prison escapes and stuff like that, we were able to play for 2, 3, 4 hours and it wasn't that big a deal. But in the interim, things have changed and it doesn't really feel like it's getting better, And that's kind of a downer. It is kind of a downer because like a lot of us, we want to get on, like we have these big ships and now we can launch them in space. I want to get on my reclaimer with a bunch of my friends and I want to go out and even if the missions don't pay out that much, I want to go out and do some shooting with the reclaimer. I want to see what it's like to battle things down. I did that one video where we destroyed the NPC Hammerhead with the reclaimer. And we were also fighting a whole ton of NPC ships, and it was a riot. It was absolutely fantastic. And those are the kind of moments that we want to enjoy in Star Citizen, even though the game has bugs and there are things that are not here yet, and it's disappointing. It's things like that kind of push away that kind of, it kind of pushes away on the negative stuff. And it allows you to enjoy some of the positive stuff, some of the good things that have come with Star Citizen. And I mean, truth be told, a lot of complaining can be done. But if everything that we had in Star Citizen right now worked 100% or as close to it as you could reasonably get with any game, because no game works at 100%, I think that we would have a pretty damn good game. Not a complete game, not a finished game, but something that's enjoyable and rewarding to play, especially now that apparently money counts, though, we'll have to wait and see on that one. I wouldn't bet the farm on that. But there's a lot of fun to be had with each new patch, new things come out, but you have to ask, like, maybe you have to take a little bit more time with these things and kind of, ease them into the persistent universe a little bit more, take a little bit more time on integration because, there is a lot of fun things that you can do and there's a lot of fun that you can have, especially not just by yourself, but with your friends. But when core features of the game seemingly don't work. Like one turret station on your ship doesn't work, but then the other turret station seemingly works for all the guns. You know, it's kind of like, damn, you know, maybe if you'd taken just a little bit more time with this. And now, of course, we are talking about the PTU. We're not talking about the PU. So this is them putting this in our hands so that we can kind of look for the mistakes and look for the errors and report them or make videos about them or whatnot, and, you know, get some eyes on these problems. But eventually this is going to hit the PU. And, you know, you got to give them time to fix it, right? You got to give them time to fix it, especially when you're talking about the PTU. But in previous versions of the PTU, I know that it has actually gotten to a place often where it runs quite smoothly, and I go, hey guys, this seems to be working really well. Then it hits the PU and it all seems to come apart at the seams. So I don't want to tell you that it's bad, but I can't tell you that it's great either. You know, I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I had an answer. I wish I could just snap my fingers and just take all these errors away, because I think it would change a lot of the discussions that we have about Star Citizen, and we'd start talking more about things that actually matter versus, you know, all these silly little things that just keep breaking on us that we wish worked but actually don't. But you know what? I do want to end off on a bit of a high note. I do want to end off on a bit of a fun note. Now, I know that people often, you know, pad ramming is often a complaint. The good thing about being able to land the the Reclaimer at Grimhex is when people try to ram you, having a ship like the Reclaimer, it kind of makes those little ships feel a little bit cute, you know? Adorable. That was a Saber, by the way, so I don't know how bigger and bigger ships would work with that, but I know I have in the past rammed a Hammerhead to death with this ship. Now that we can take a big ship like this out of Grimhex, the pad rammers are maybe in for a bit of a surprise. And that is a good thing. That is an up note, and I think that that's a kind of a fun place to leave the video. I hope they fix it. You know, I hope they nail it down, or at least, you know, kind of maybe if there is a feature or if there is something that came along with this patch that is kind of the cause behind this, then if it is something that can be lifted out, if it is something that can be removed and set aside until it's in a better state, then I'm all for it, because, you know, there is the core, the beginnings of a very good game here. It's some of these bugs and some of these, you know, instabilities are really what kills it.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.